Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning has been on the arts. The Milwaukee Repertory Theater, they're presenting a timely, thought-provoking play, The Niceties. Performances are going on now through November 3rd at the Rep, and here to tell us all about it are actresses Kimber Sprawl and Kate Levy. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking the time to come and tell us about this production. I'm very interested in hearing more about it. So this is a two-person production, and Kate, you're playing this older woman who is a white liberal professor, and Kimber, you play a student activist. So with that in mind, I want to hear more about The Niceties.
Well, it starts off, like you said, it's me and Kate, Janine and Zoe. Zoe goes to Janine to work on a history paper. And these two women, they're extremely intelligent. They're extremely passionate about the academia and what they do. And that conversation just evolves into a conversation about race and power and American history. And you see two very opposing sides, and they talk about it, and it gets heated sometimes.
I was going to say, it's not just a nice little talk.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a very uncomfortable conversation, and it's hard.
At times it is.
Yeah,
and we're so grateful that at times it's very funny, and that they share actually a great deal in common.
Yeah.
Intellectually and probably socially, politically as well. But when they come up against their differences, they're kind of irreconcilable. So things escalate, but they both make sense. They're both right. They're both a little wrong in ways. And it gives, sheds light on a conversation this is a microcosm of a huge conversation that the country is maybe finally addressing sort of officially in academia, but also the New York Times, the 1619 Project, voting the New York Times Sunday Magazine to the 400th anniversary of the slave ships coming to North America, and African American history being not a footnote to white history, but mainstream about white history, affecting it.
I think this all is so timely because Eleanor Burgess actually wrote The Niceties during the 2016 U.S. presidential election, and I don't need to tell anyone that America witnessed, and I think is still witnessing, what appears to be a major divide. People feel one way, maybe based on their own experiences, or and then someone else feels another way based off of their experiences, whether it be because of their gender or race or whatever the case may be. But we're seeing all of this play out right now today, and so to see you all kind of create the conversation and suggest that it's okay to talk about it, and we need to talk about it. Yeah, it is. Crucial. It really is. So you guys give us a little bit of the tease that sometimes this gets escalated. And I think that because talking about race and racism is very uncomfortable for many people, I'm thinking it's probably uncomfortable watching the conversation as well. What do you think?
Sometimes it is. I think the audience, they should be able to feel more comfortable because it's like they get to be a fly on the wall, right? So you're not actually having the conversation, you're just listening, and there are times you can feel the energy, sometimes it gets really intense, and then as soon as something's funny, the audience breaks. I think they want to be a part of the journey too. The fact of the matter is we're all here, we're all a part of the conversation, and I think people want to be a part of it, they just don't know how. So the play gives them an opportunity, and there are also talkbacks after the play where people can stay and shed some light on their experiences. And I think it's just being able to say yes, that it is okay to do it. And
it's okay to say how you really feel. You have to just be open to understand that everyone's not going to feel the same way.
Well, that's how we generate change, right? We can't really govern and cater and take care of our communities if we're not being honest, if we're not having these conversations.
And the flip side of that is to listen. To listen, because we're all quick to proclaim or to defend or to fight. we're not as quick to really listen. I mean, really listen, really take in to someone's feelings, to their experience, and what we can learn from that. We sort of do this, yeah, well, that's you.
Yeah. Well, it's a lack of empathy, I feel.
And empathy is a huge theme of the play, but it was paramount for this playwright because she was inspired by an incident that happened at her university where people simply weren't listening. It was a huge argument that was campus-wide, and she came away with this sort of astonished impression that these are all good, smart people, and they're not listening to the other side.
It makes a difference, it does.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the title, The Niceties, because that's kind of what people do these days, you know. You kind of just make nice, and you don't want to get too deep into all of those things that are uncomfortable. So talk about, you know, the significance of that in itself, the title.
I think it's different depending who you are. For my character Zoe, the niceties for her is having to play nice in a community to make other people uncomfortable. She always has to play by the majority rule. And she's an African American woman, that's how she identifies, and she doesn't want to hide that, but sometimes she feels like she has to, or she can't say how she feels, or she can't say that she's offended because it offends someone else. And she's kind of done with that. I feel like my generation is done with that. And
the play takes up specifically, or starts with the scholarship and academia that is really American thought, especially in the most elite quarters of university and so forth. And she's a brilliant student, and I play this esteemed professor. And she has this very thrilling idea, and for her paper. And the fight we have has to do with, well, how are you going to bring that idea across? There are rules, and those same rules don't actually serve these new ideas. And the play urges us to look critically, not just at our ideas, but the rules, our language, how we talk about them, race to race, generation to generation, demographic to demographic. It's, sorry if I'm making that sound stuffy. It isn't. This play is anything
I
but.
totally don't get that, because I love the fact that you're provoking conversation, first of all, but then second, you have found a way to add humor, which breaks it up, you know, which is always needed. So those two things alone is really what sparks the interest of those who go to the theater. So I think that it makes it very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Please come.
I definitely wanted to remind the viewers that the Milwaukee Rep's 5th annual Act 2 Community Engagement Program takes place. This is where you had mentioned they get a chance to talk about what they just witnessed.
After the performance.
Yes, after the performance, and there are community-driven conversations with panelists from local organizations. That includes Public Allies Milwaukee, Marquette University, Youth Justice Milwaukee, UWM, ACLU Wisconsin, as well as Milwaukee Public Schools. So with that said, it's all very interesting. Have you had a chance to sit in on any of these yet?
We just started this week.
Yeah, we haven't.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I will. I feel like my work is delivering the play.
Yes.
And I admire the work they do, but
Not being swayed by thoughts.
I sort of melt away. Well, we've been in an intensive 5-week experience with this, and I applaud the effort to, you know, enrich the experience for the audience, but
And because you take the work home, like we've had to become these women. We've had to feel what they feel, and it's tedious on the heart and the brain.
It's draining.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But thank you both for coming by.
Thank you
And like
for
I said, I'm
having
really
us.
interested in checking this out. So
Thank
it's gonna be
you.
interesting. Kimber Sprawl and Kate Levy, they are the actresses in the 2-person drama The Niceties. It's playing now through November 3rd at the Milwaukee Rep. For ticket information, you can call 414-224-9490 or visit MilwaukeeRep.com. When we return, we'll continue our look at the arts and pay tribute to National Hispanic Heritage Month. We'll discuss the first stage production of On the Wings of Mariposa and meet the director right after this.